Hey, what's up? Today, I'm gonna be restringing and doing a complete new setup on this guitar right here. So if you'd like to watch me do that, you're in the right place. Actually, this is something I've been meaning to do for a while, get this guitar totally set up to my liking since it was delivered to me a few months ago. And I've been just kind of procrastinating or just haven't found the time, but today is the day, and I figured, hey, I might as well just turn on the cameras for anybody who's interested in seeing the process. So I will discuss all my processes, including changing the strings, changing the string gauge, changing the tuning, how I line my strings through all the tuning knobs there, all my stretching routine, all that kind of stuff. And all those changes are gonna have a massive effect on the bridge float. So we'll be floating that, be going over intonation and truss rod adjustments if necessary. But I honestly plan to do this as quickly as possible rather than going super deep on everything. I will describe my methods, offer tips and tricks here and there, but I'm kind of, like I said, gonna try to keep it moving, because a typical setup like this may take me like, I don't know, 40 minutes, 45 minutes if I'm not talking about everything that I'm doing. But when I am, it turns into an hour and 15 minutes or whatever. And I know you guys, you have stuff to do. Not everybody has an hour and 15 minutes to just sit and watch me talk nonsense about cool ass guitars. So, but I promise you will learn something from this, and I do have in-depth videos on every topic, multiple videos on every topic that we're gonna go over today. So I will reference those throughout the video if you'd like a further deep dive look into that. And one other thing is that while I do have a lot of string changing videos here on the channel, we're coming up on a new year, 2024. There's a lot of new subscribers to the channel here, a lot of new people. Welcome aboard, thanks for joining up, and here's just something fresh for you. Today we're working on my Jackson Pro Plus Soloist in Polar Burst. I absolutely love this guitar. I've just been kind of playing it with the factory setup that they sent. I absolutely love it. The feel of it is incredible. I like it more every day, but now I'm gonna get it into drop C. So we'll be dropping from drop D into drop C. It currently has 9 through 42s on it, and we're gonna go 11 through 52 with my gauges of choice here, which are 11, 13, 20 wound, 30, 42, and 52. So again, like I said, that's gonna have a significant effect on the float, but we will get into that and get her all done. So let's knock it out. How's everybody doing today? Good? Good. I think I already loosened those. Let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna go one string at a time. If I wanna do a full like neck cleaning, I will go take all the strings off. I'll block the float just so it kind of stays there, and then I clean the fretboard and everything. But this guitar is pretty much brand new. It doesn't need that deep of a cleaning. So when I can, I like to just do one string at a time. It just makes everything a little bit easier. Little tip here, as you're taking off your strings, I like to leave the eye hole facing me. That way when I go to restring, I don't have to mess around with turning it. It just goes right in. Having a garbage can nearby, always handy, rather than leaving your stuff all over the floor. I mention that in all my string changing videos because it is a pet peeve of mine, as a matter of fact. Get your strings set up in order and ready to go. I believe organization makes for a better change all around. Clip off my ball end. I wonder what the percentage of floating tremolo players like Floyd's, or Kahlers, or whatever are to fixed bridge guys. Probably more fixed bridge guys out there, right? But even if that's the case, so many principles that I talk about in all my string changing videos can apply to any type of bridge because they're just general principles. Obviously, certain things are going to apply to a Floyd since that's what I'm working with in this case. So real quick there, I went around and then through. I like to leave myself about like that, about that high. See that there? So that may be even a little bit much, but it's okay. Yeah, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay. Let's try that. Keep that bent up. And we got a nice whine there. See that? Again, that was around and then through, and when I go through, I go over top of the string that we went around. I'll demonstrate a little more on the next one. Get it close, I'm going to C. Big stretch. Oop, hear that? A lot of time that happens, that pops. That's why stretching is so necessary. The more stretching you do now, you're gonna see that you're gonna think, man, this guy stretches out his strings a ton. But it just makes everything more in tune when all the strings are on and you go to start playing. Especially when we're gonna be floating and doing intonation, because strings that continually stretch are just gonna give you false readings on your tuner and affect the float and everything. So I believe in overstretching beforehand, and it just makes your life so much easier. Trust me, as I've done this now at least 1,000 times. Good, let's move on. Again, I'm gonna leave one of the eye holes facing me here in my direction. I think a lot of beginner players, or people just new to the guitar in general, might be apprehensive about changing strings. Understandably so, right? It's like doing anything your first time until you just get in a habit and a bit of a routine. And in my opinion, with this, or anything really in life, it's about understanding what's going on, or it helps you do a better job, it helps you make better decisions, and just have a better idea of everything when you can wrap your head around all the variables. I try to think of things scientifically, and somebody might say, what's scientific about changing strings? Well, when you're floating bridges and stuff, and you want your stuff to stay in tune, and that's important to you, proper tuning and reliability with your instrument, the better you take care of it and the more you know about it, the easier your life will be. I promise. Oh, I forgot to show you more in depth about how I did that. Try to remember on the next one. Look at that, nice looking winds. Even you can get in here and pull them up if you like I'm doing with strings. Looks like I have a broken nail. I can't really get in there. There we go. Okay. And every time I put on a new string, I stretch the previous ones as well, the ones I've already put on. And another reason for that is because the thicker, more wound strings need more stretching anyways. Like the 6th string needs a lot more stretching than the 1st string. So as I go, each one, I'll stretch this one, then I'll go back and stretch this one, then I'll stretch this one, then I'll change this one, then I'll go back and stretch this one and this one, then I'll change this one and go back, stretch this one, this one, and this one. So each time you're getting more and more stretched as necessary. I'm not super worried about the tuning being perfect right now, just in the ballpark. Okay. I know these videos are somewhat niche, and it's gonna take a special type of viewer to make it all the way to the end, but I've gotta say that these are my favorite type of videos to make because I love working on guitars. I love talking about guitars. I love playing guitars. I got a feeling you do too. Now, but this is meditation for me. Literally, if I wasn't talking to you guys right now, I'd have some Opeth on, and I would just be in my own world, doing this, and thanking God that this is my life. Damn it, I forgot again. All right, I gotta just shut up and deliver on my promises, okay? Another tip before you get started with all this, put all your fine tuners in like a midway position. So that'd be like put one all the way down and put one all the way up, and then the one in between you can put right in the middle, and then that'll be your reference point. Put the rest of them all back in the middle, if you want to be anal about it and find the exact middle, but it's a good idea to do beforehand. I didn't need to do that with this one because the fine tuners hadn't really been adjusted. This was just the factory setup that it came with. Okay, this time I'm going to remember. Just show a little bit more in depth about how I do the wrap there. At least I'm planning on remembering. See how I use the whammy bar there? Push that down just to get that a little bit more bent towards the angle that I want. I get it stuck in there so it's hitting the bottom. I try to keep it centered. And then I'm going to use my fingers to put that down if you can. Older Floyds, it's harder because they're more seized up, but this is a brand new Floyd, so all the mechanical components feel nice and smooth, like they should. All right, let's move up here through the nut block. All right, so again, since we're wrapping counterclockwise in this case, I'm gonna go around counterclockwise once, holding it down, then through the hole so that I'm over top of what I went around with. That's what I went around with right here, and now I'm over top. I'm gonna pull through like that, pull this up to give myself about the amount of slack I want, about like that, pull it tight, boom. I'm keeping this pulled up here with my right hand as I'm tightening so that there's no slack in there. As you can see, I think you can see all those are real nice winds so far. I'm very happy with all those. Looking for an F. I'm not sure if any of these camera angles allow you guys to see the tuner or not. I won't know till afterwards. I didn't think about that beforehand. Usually I have a full overhead shot, but I set up 3 different shots for this one here. Also realized after the fact that my face isn't in the shot, so you just are hearing my voice. And I had to come down here, look at the beginning just to say hello. I'm also stretching out here at the headstock a little bit each time that I can. Everything above the nut. And look at that bridge starting to pull up there. Notice how I bent all these up too as I'm done with them so they're out of the way. I used to leave them down like that and they're just kind of in your way as you're trying to work here, but if you bend them all straight up like that, then they're out of your way and easy to clip at the end. I like to clip them off last just in case there's any issues. You never know, sometimes you gotta take a string off, you made some mistake or something happens. Anything can happen along the way here. Better equipping yourself with the knowledge of how everything works will help you know how to tackle any scenario that comes your motherfucking way. Tighten these so it's snug, but there's still the tiniest bit of play. You go too hard, it cracks those blocks, which you won't notice until the next time you go to change your strings, and they don't move once they're cracked, or they're very difficult to move. Because it like takes up a different amount of space in there. If you know, you know. I thought about doing a separate little video, maybe even just like a short, about the best way. Well, actually, I don't know what the best way to get those blocks out. I have my method. I don't know if it's the best way, but it involves kind of manhandling it. But I remember a time when I had no idea whatsoever how to get that block out of there. So I bet there are others out there that feel the same. All right, yeah, this is pulling up big time now. I'm gonna just do this last one and we'll start working on that float. My tip for knowing when to change your strings is putting your finger underneath the G string, especially if you have a wound G, which most people don't have as a matter of fact, but for me, I take this G and I run my finger underneath it like that, underneath the bottom of the string. And when your strings are old, you can feel the fret indentation of every fret along here, and that's when I know they need to be changed. But right now, I don't feel a single fret because they're brand new. It's super smooth. for D. C, G, C, F, A, D, low to high is what I'm going for. Drop C. We got a video on drop tunings if you're interested. It's fun tuning to play in. All right. So yeah, that took about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and cut these off. Now I'm going to bend them down. I just found that doing that in advance helps guide it in the direction you want it to go. And give it a little push so you don't hurt your fingers. I cut them close, but not super, super close. I guess I'm a little superstitious in some ways about cutting them too close. All right. We're looking good there. Time to get into this float. First plug of the video, the Nomad tool set. Music Nomad tool set comes with these, and they're awesome for getting in there, dust and stuff. I like to keep my guitar clean as I'm going. Just feel it. It's better to me when I'm better to it. Another superstition. But yeah, this thing allows you to get into all the nooks and crannies. Link in description. I mention this in all my videos, and I see that a lot of guys get them and that everybody loves them. It's my favorite guitar tool that there is. All right, so assuming you can see that the bridge is pulled up here, so I'm going to tighten the springs a little bit, which in the back, which will pull the bridge back down, and then it's just a balancing act. Tightening a little bit, tuning, seeing where we're at. Hopefully not overshooting it, but that's certainly possible. And then, like I said, yeah, it's just gonna be a balancing act between tuning, and each time I make an adjustment, the discrepancy will lessen and lessen until we get to a point where the bridge is floating completely parallel with the body and the guitar is in tune. Let's get started. Nice little tip here, something like that. Come on, come on. Let me see what's under there. Come on, show me the goods. Right. Okay, typical 3-spring setup in a V. Sometimes I go 4 springs, 2 on each side. Sometimes I go with the 3. I'm just gonna stick with this for now and see what happens. There's my big guy. Okay. Using the proper tool for this, meaning the right size Phillips head for these, is crucial because you don't want to strip these because they're very tough to turn in either direction. So you need to use force to make sure you're seated in there real well. I'm going to start with a full turn. So that's easy to look for with, a Phillips head. So I'm just going to wait till this, that's a half turn. Or wait, you know what I'm saying. Quarter, 3/4, full turn. So that's what I'm looking for. So a quarter, another quarter, another quarter, full. Okay, so let's see when that is. Quarter, half, 3/4, full. All right. Now we're gonna tune up again and see what happens. Also, I like to do this, just to get it all nice and seated properly. Going back and forth with my whammy bar. So we're currently quite flat, which is pulling up even further on there. So we're gonna have to go quite a bit more, I can tell. It's a good chance. Might even have to add another spring. I'm gonna try not to. Yep, look at that. Now, here I'm gonna make my decision. You can see how far that's pulled up and how much room we have there. Are we gonna make it? A fourth spring would add a bunch of additional tension back here, allowing us to not have to go in so far, but I'm just gonna try to get away with it and see. I'm going to go another full turn and then maybe another half turn after that. So quarter, half, 3/4, full, quarter, half, 3/4, full, and then let's go another half. Let's see where that puts us. So I want to get to the point where we're sharp, which we are right now on some of them. Because if we're sharp, that means we're loosening the tuning knobs, relieving tension from the bridge, which will set it back, which is what we want, because right now it's up like this, and we want it to fall back. So we're heading in the right direction. The guitar is very sharp. Tuning's pretty good. But we're still quite a ways up there. Yep, tuning's pretty good, so we got a ways to go. Do another full turn. Yep. So everything's super sharp, as expected. Okay, so we're getting close. The bridge is currently almost perfect. There's a little bit that it wants that I can go back with it, but then we're gonna get to the point where we'll have overshot it. But because I'm going in increments, full turns, half turns, and stuff like that, I have a point of reference. I wasn't just doing it blindly on both sides, so it's just gonna eliminate a lot of the back and forth. Now, if we've gone too far, I'll try backing off a quarter turn on each side, and everything just kind of remains consistent. So anyways, my tuning discrepancy is getting less and less, so I'm gonna get it to a point where it's pretty good. Almost right there, and then I will make my decision about what kind of adjustments to make on the springs. Getting close. Okay, I think we're there. We're there. All right, and let's look where we're at. Oh man, I love it. It's perfect on this side. But there's still stretching that's gonna take place, and things like that. We may need to make some adjustments, but I'm very happy with that. Look at that. I hope you can see. It's absolutely money, currently. So now I'm gonna give it, now I'm gonna scratch the beautiful finish. Now, try to work it in, keep retuning, and see where it sits. I have a feeling I may have overshot it just a tiny bit. We may need to back it off that quarter turn, but we'll know momentarily. Everything's still a bit sharp, which means the bridge is dropping further back into the body, and we may have overshot it. But a lot of guys will make the mistake of seeing it perfect, like we saw it a moment ago, but not going further with it like I am right now. Again, tuning and stretching and yanking it, because it's still settling. The whole thing right now has been, you know, where it was comfortable before has been totally disrupted. And we want it to get back comfortable with itself. Tuning's looking good. And yes, it has fallen back in there a little bit. So we're gonna do the quarter turn. I'm gonna back it off, quarter turn. After we get this going, which we're pretty close on, we will look at the action, adjust the truss rod if necessary, and then finish with the intonation. Just slightly flat, just a good sign. Because now we're increasing the tension by sharpening the strings, which will in turn pull the bridge back up. All right, so we're still back in the body a little bit. I think I'm gonna go one more quarter turn. Yep. So this is good. I'm glad anybody who's still watching sees this, that even though I've done this so many times, it's still a bit of a guessing game. And I'm hesitant to address this, but I'm just going to go ahead for those of you still watching. On my 2 float videos, which happen to be 2 of my more popular videos, which is always surprising to me. Actually, the most popular video on my channel is my first float video. It blows me away that so many people are interested in this, and so many people tune in to that video every single day to see. But there are a lot of guys that comment and say, oh, that method takes way too long. There's such an easier method. And it's this method that guys talk about where you block it, tune it, and then take the block out and adjust the springs with it already in tune, and that'll set it up for you, and it's supposed to be real quick and everything. So I won't deny that method works, and all I can say is that if it were really that easy, why doesn't everybody do it? And some can argue that as well, but the point of my videos and the length and the depth that I go into and just the overall dad-splaining that I do about everything is because of what I've been talking about throughout the video, that just knowing what's going on is so important. Yes, you can do it that fast way, but if there's any problem, you may not know why. And there are inherently problems with this all the time. Something comes up. One side of the guitar is tuning, but the other side isn't, or the float looks this way crooked or like that, or, just certain little things that if you just have a better understanding about the principles of what's happening in there, the fulcrum or the balance of the teeter-totter in there, and what you're doing and what each adjustment is, what effect it's having on everything, you just have a better understanding. So I still believe in my method here, even though that it's long and cumbersome, but it works for me every time, and you get perfect results just like that. Okay, we are good. Yes, sir. Every once in a while, I'll have to make a tiny adjustment the next day after everything's settled. But I'm just looking for a pick. Here we go. So now I'm going to check out the action. For that, first thing to do is just to play it and feel. Action feels high, especially 12th fret and up. So I'm going to look down the neck here. I don't think there's a camera angle where you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, but yes, I can see that the neck has a little bit too much relief to it. Please check out my truss rod adjustment video. It's a video I'm very proud of, as a matter of fact. You'll see me flash it here on the screen. And I go in depth on exactly how to do what I'm about to do right now. But I'm just gonna tighten this. If I can find a smaller Allen wrench is what I'm gonna use. I love this style where the truss rod adjustment is here and not under a plate up there. I'm just gonna tighten this. Go a little more. Maybe about like that. Tune a little bit. I always like to stretch and all this after any big adjustment. And the reason we're going to do intonation last as the final step, because you want to make sure every other component of your setup is in place first, from the float to the action, and then move on to your intonation. Let's look at that. I'm looking down and looking at the relationship between the sixth string and the neck, how parallel they are. I even think that this could go even a little bit straighter, and each time it gets straighter, the action gets a little lower. But if you go too far, you start to get string or fret buzz. I like a nice low action to the point where a little bit of fret buzz is totally acceptable for me. Okay, we're looking good, bro. Okay, so intonation. We're going to move the saddles so that the string is in the best possible pitch it can be on every fret of the string. Sometimes if I were to hit this low C and it's a C, which is perfect right now on the tuner, I don't think you guys can see my tuner right now, I'm sorry about that, but it was showing a perfect C. And then if I were to fret the 12th fret and hit it, it's a little bit flat. So that discrepancy will make notes north or east, depending on how you're looking at it, of the 12th fret kind of out of tune. And we just want, you know, this fret here and everywhere, just all the frets to have the best pitch in relationship to one another across every string on every fret on the entire fretboard. Now, I know that you should do this in the playing position for optimum results. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to leave the guitar on the bench, and it won't make that much of a difference, bro. If you're at the point where you're actually intonating your guitars properly, even doing that gives you a big advantage. Doesn't really matter that it's in playing position or not. Yes, playing position will get the optimum results, but it's still okay. No one's gonna die if you intonate your guitar on the bench. All right, so again, I have an extremely in-depth video on this process, but I'll explain quickly. Right now, this is showing up as a perfect C. You know, let me just get this in the damn shot so you guys can see it here. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Right now it's a perfect C. The thicker the string, the harder this is too. But anyways, it's a perfect C there. So now when I fret the 12th fret, using the same amount of pressure when I do it, it's a little bit sharp. That is totally good. I'm not going to intonate this string. Let's try this one. Perfect G, 12th fret. Now, that is a little bit flat there. It's still pretty acceptable in my opinion, but for the sake of it, we're gonna do it. So we just do what's called chasing the needle. Because it's a little bit flat, left of center, we're gonna move the saddle a little bit to the left. If the tuner was coming up sharp at the 12th fret, we're gonna chase the needle, and we would go to the right and move the saddle back slightly. But this is just the tiniest bit flat. May not even be worth doing, but I'll just do it. With the case of a Floyd, what you need to do is loosen your string a little bit. I'm gonna, so that I can get at the saddle here, I'm gonna take note of where it is. I don't want it to move too much, and if you have too much tension on here when you try to do this, it's just gonna pull it forward too much. So I'm loosening it. I'm gonna kind of keep it like that. I'm going to loosen it and just bring it forward just barely. It's actually, okay, it can't go any more forward right now because there are two holes on a Floyd for the screw. You can put it here in this position or in that front position. I will have to move this screw to that front position to be able to move this forward at all because it's right up against there. But because it only needed the tiniest bit, let's just go with this and see what happens. I don't even know that any adjustment was made. It may have been all the way forward in that position right there. We're gonna find out by tuning it back up. Good. No, it's still flat. Okay, gotta move it. Again, that's so close. I probably wouldn't do this, but just for the sake of the video, we're gonna do it. So that means I'm looking, it's a little bit in front of this one, in front of the 6-string one. So after I move this, my point of reference disappears once I move this string, or I'm sorry, screw. But we're gonna go ahead with it. Here it goes, see how that popped forward? And because I just needed a little bit, now I'm gonna have to take it back. To about there. Okay. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect G. You see that? Good. And that was the tiniest bit flat too, so if I sharpen that, perfect G. Perfect. All right, so let's do one more. Let's check this out. So right now, the string's relationship to the other strings isn't that important. It just needs to be in perfect tune with itself for the purpose of intonation. Okay, and also, even if the string is slightly sharp on the tuner, I try not to go for that, but if it's slightly sharp on the tuner, as long as it's slightly sharp at the 12th fret, it's still well intonated because it's just the relationship between itself and its own frets in this case. That one's good. Ooh, big difference there. Okay, so this F, it's quite a bit flat. So same thing, we want to chase the tuner because the 12th fret is flat, left of center. We need to move the saddle left. And we're in the same predicament here where this guy, whoa, it was loose. This guy can't go any further, so I need to move this to the second position. Screw hole. Okay, I'm gonna get it where I want it, which I think was probably about right there. Looking for F. Good. Still a little flat. Okay, so we need to go further. Chasing the needle, we need to go to the left. Good enough for me. Could go even a little bit more. But I think you guys are sick of watching this. Could go the tiniest bit more, but it's good enough for me. Good. Good. This guitar is intonated. I usually go back and check one more time through everything. But maybe I'll do that after the video. And again, I'll come back and check all this out the next day after everything's settled, after a big setup change like this, and just do some fine adjustments. Okay, so we're good there. Final steps. How's our floats looking? Perfectamundo. We're good. So let's pop the back plate back on. We got 3 more steps. They're all short and sweet. Pop the back plate on. Okay, that step is done. Second to last step. Little piece of tape. It's gonna go right here on the headstock. And I'm going to write drop C 11 through 52. So that's my tuning and gauges. You see that in that? Nope. And today's date, which is 12/21/23. This way, you always know when the last time these strings were changed. You see that there? Drop C, 11 through 52, 12, 21, 23. So if this guitar sits in a case or just with a bunch of others or whatever, a year from now, you know how long it's been. Final step, quick polish. Oh, there's actually one more thing. There's one more step after this too. And actually I should have done it before this step, but it doesn't matter. We'll get to that in a sec. So, okay, before I finish, the final step was to tighten up my, do a fine tuning and tighten my nut. Okay. Okay, the real last step. Polished up. Look at that finish, guys. I mean, different strokes for different folks, but this thing to me is beautiful. And it is now ready for playing. Ready for the studio, ready for the stage, ready for whatever you need it for, you know? Dunzo, easy as that. Whammy bar in. Appreciate everybody watching, especially everybody that made it this far. Just gonna ask, you know, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so already. Give the video a thumbs up, as each thumbs up helps the video be seen by more people. So yeah, again, thanks everybody. Rob Arnold, if you didn't know, I got an awesome Patreon community I'd love for you to check out at patreon.com/RobArnoldWorld. All sorts of perks you can read about, guitar tabs, early looks at the videos, behind the scenes content, all that kind of stuff. My guitar instructional DVD, songwriting, riffing, soloing, just all sorts of learning stuff here on the channel. Please check out my guitar maintenance series tutorials playlist with everything we've talked about in this video, detailed videos on each topic specifically, plus loads of other cool stuff, gear, demos, unboxings, all that. I also have a unboxing video on this guitar, the Pro Plus Soloist, or Plus Pro Soloist, what is it? Pro Plus, yeah. As well as a couple other new Jacksons I've recently got, tons of ESPs, stuff like that. So, hey, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you on the next one.